Thanks, and thanks a lot for this introduction. I'm really happy to be here and to share a little bit about MICA and the work we have been doing for the last 7 years at the Responsible MICA initiative. Maybe to start with presenting MICA, it's a raw material, yes, and a family of minerals, 37 to be exact. And basically it's a mineral that nobody knows about, or more or less. But it's used in a lot of applications in our everyday life, and basically it's used for two great physical properties, and once it's shiny, very shiny. And so you are using it as a basis for pigment. And so you find it in cosmetics, you find it in paints, be it car paints or housing paints as well. And the second physical property why you are using MICA is because it's a very good insulator. And here, when you are talking about energy transition, you are talking about MICA. It's used in EV batteries to insulate EV batteries. It's used as well in the construction industry. It's used pretty much everywhere around us. It's used as well as an insulator in like home appliances, like hair dryers, for example, or toasters. Well, MICA is not only used for all these applications, it comes from a lot of countries in the world. These resources, like pretty much evenly distributed over the planet. But two of the countries where it comes from are, let's say, problematic if we are looking at risk in supply chains. These two countries are India and Madagascar. There are others as well, like Brazil, Nigeria, where you find MICA produced by artisanal and small-scale mining. And unfortunately, these artisanal and small-scale mines are like really not up to the standards to which we could hope them to be. And so the Responsible MICA initiative, the organization I'm working for, is an NGO, a membership-based organization, and we are aiming to establish a responsible, fair, and sustainable MICA supply chain in India, in Madagascar, and we are looking at other countries as well. The idea of our organization is to, and I like the expression, rethink risks and building trust, because the idea of the organization is really to try to collectively act and address the risks in the MICA supply chains. We have around 100 members who are organizations that are involved in the MICA supply chain, be it like federations or companies directly buying MICA or processing MICA, and all of these companies are committed to concretely act towards the establishment of a fair, responsible MICA supply chain. And here we are acting as our organization. We are acting as a tool provider for these companies to have the right tools to concretely implement these sustainable MICA supply chain, and so to change their business practices in business practices that are taking into account artisanal and small-scale mines in their supply chains, and especially try to make sure that more added value is brought back to the miners and to the processors, which are the two first steps of the supply chain. And for that, so we are working on three verticals, basically the three families of stakeholders. The first one is to work with the private sector upstream of the supply chain, so basically the miners and the processing units. And we are accompanying them in implementing responsible workplace practices. So we developed a standard both for mines and for processing units. We have a traceability platform that enables these upstream players to be linked with downstream ones. And we have teams on the ground in India and Madagascar who are accompanying these miners and processors in really implementing these standards and then be externally audited and monitor their progress throughout time. Our second vertical is working with the communities, mining communities, and especially on all the aspects that are not mining. We see that working on really the mine part, it takes a lot of time. It's really challenging to make things improve. But in the meantime, we are working with them, with these mining communities, to make sure that basically they have enough to live. So we are working on livelihood. They have access to quality education. They have access to water and basic needs. They have access to health and nutrition services. And if the country provides public services in these fields, then we are trying to make sure that these communities have access to these public services that they are eligible to. The third vertical is then working with the government. And here we are working with the international government, like European one, US one, and as well local ones, so in Madagascar and India. And we are working with them to basically make sure that the legal framework that is ruling and regulating all the MICA mining activities, this legal framework is fair for everybody. So fair for the miners, fair for the processors, and of course, fair for their communities around the world. So that's what we are doing. I'm really, really happy to take questions if they are. And if they are not, we can deep dive in a few of the tools that we are providing to our members. The fact that we are not a certification body, so that gives us a quite interesting position with regards to this journey. So yeah, happy to take questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Olivier. Round of applause, everybody, for the fantastic Olivier. Fantastic. Just in terms of questions, and I've got a number of them coming in through different channels at the moment. So let's start with the kind of the upstream bit and the mining of the mica. Can you describe what does the mining look like? I mean, are these big hard rocks with sort of big flake sizes of the mica, or is it more mineral sands like being on a beach? What is it that's actually being mined here?
Yeah, I would say that it's the first option that you described. It's really a native mica, a huge formation underground. Usually it's underground, not on surface or subsurface. So basically miners have to dig tunnels from the surface to 20, 30, 40 meters deep. And they are usually working with very artisanal tools and hand tools, and that's it. It's not mechanized, at least not in Madagascar, and very few mines are mechanized in Bihar and Jharkhand states in India. And they are working in really harsh conditions. So they are working usually without any safety equipments, and they are going down in the tunnels with a candle and basically going through the tunnels. And at the end, when the candles lights off, it means that they don't have oxygen anymore and they have to stop working in this tunnel in particular, and they are just digging another one, a new one. So it's really, really, I would say, unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable, and we are trying to make sure that they have at least the first knowledge, first level of knowledge and competencies in terms of timbering, have at least safety hats and just the basics, just to make sure that there is no accidents in the mines, and then working on productivity, yes, but that's not the priority. Really, the priority is make sure that the mine is safe, and then we can work on other things. Yeah.
And so in terms of the actual, I guess, product that they are taking out of the ground, what does that look like? Because of course mica is a mineral that's kind of very flat, and so muscovite, which is one of the types of mica, just it almost looks like acetate in terms of just this thin kind of see-through mineral. So what does the actual product look like when it comes out of the ground from this form of mining?
It looks like books, and we are talking about mica books. So it's really sheets and sheets of mica, the one on top of others. And the first step of processing is to separate these sheets of mica. And in fact, at the end of this first step of processing, you end up with very thin layers of mica that are completely transparent, flexible, so it looks like plastic. But it resists to fire. So it's quite striking when you are putting a flame on it, can resist up to 15 minutes to a flame. But it's completely transparent, completely flexible. So it makes a very, very efficient material in terms of thermal insulation. So it's a very, very efficient material. Yeah.
Awesome. So now we can sort of visualize what is this stuff that's coming out of the ground, and perhaps marvel at nature in terms of what it can produce naturally. You described this artisanal and small scale mining and the way that it's undertaken. Is there a large scale mining version of mica mining, and how do they do it?
Yeah, well, it's you have large-scale mining of mica in India, but not in Bihar and Jharkhand, more in Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh, two other states of India. You have large-scale mining in the US, where you have a well-known mine of mica. You have mica mining in France, actually, but it's a byproduct of kaolin, so another clay. Basically, it's very typical truck and shovels production methods. It's open pit, and you have it's really classical shovels digging the ground, putting material in trucks, and trucks going to a plant where it's processed. The quality of mica is the same at the end. It's just that you are using, you mentioned muscovite, the other one is phlogopite, and basically these two types of mica are the ones that are used generally in all these applications that I mentioned. And then you have another type of mica, which is interesting, which is the synthetic one. And basically you take from mines as well all the elements that are included in mica at the end. So aluminum, silicates, carbonates. You got that from mines, you put that in a huge oven, and then you end up with mica, if I'm just summarizing the process. It's made in China, and it consumes a lot of energy, but it has the advantage of not having child labor or unacceptable working conditions behind. So some companies are choosing to go only for synthetic mica rather than continuing, sourcing natural mica. So that's an interesting choice, I would say, not because for us at the Responsible Mica Initiative, we are totally favoring the fact to continue sourcing mica from ASM to support them in change. But then if you need as well other qualities of mica and that synthetic mica can bring to you, you could go to synthetic mica. But yeah, the question of going for the one or the other has really to be thought through, because it has impact on ASM communities as well.
Thank you for that, Olivier. There's a question that's come in the chat from Owen, and Owen asks, well, firstly, Owen says, "Thank you for your talk!" ! And then says, "Are you looking more at mica as an end product in itself, or mica to be processed to another commodity, for example, lithium micas?"
That's a very, very good question. I mean, we are looking at mica as an end product in itself, which is used then in components or powders that are then included in end-use product. But there is clearly a renewed interest for mica, as a lot of micas are bear lithium, and we speak about lithium-bearing micas. And here, MICA is not anymore like mined for MICA in itself, but for the lithium it contains. And we see that it might introduce a competition between traditional actors that have been involved in MICA mining for the MICA and newcomers who are more interested into the lithium. And of course, governments don't have the same interest in MICA as they have in lithium, which can be considered by some governments as a critical material. And so definitely something that will impact ASM communities in the near future. Especially well, in India and Madagascar, already geological surveys have already been organized by the governments to know whether these MICA were the grade of lithium was high enough to be considered as lithium deposit. In the south of Madagascar, it looks like not. In India, it's not clear yet. In Bihar and Jharkhand, but that's definitely a key questions for us, because at some point, if you have a competition between MICA and lithium within the same deposits, the value that you will bring back to the state will not be the same, and of course then the supply chains are not the same as well. So we need to have a look into that. But yeah, to answer to the question, we are looking at MICA as MICA and not MICA as lithium MICA. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. I mean, just a further question to that. So obviously you can almost have these byproducts or co-products alongside the MICA. So be it the lithium concentration within the MICA, is there anything else that can be usefully extracted from the ground alongside the MICA itself?
It depends where you are, but basically in Bihar and Jharkhand, it's really MICA and 100% MICA. In the south of Madagascar, it's MICA, but just in the north of MICA, it's an area that is full of gemstones. And sometimes we are not sure about the boundaries between these two zones, two areas. And then usually MICA is the byproduct of something else. For example, in the south of Madagascar, MICA was considered as a byproduct of ilmenite, so titanium deposits. And here it was not even considered as byproduct, more a waste. So it was put just on the site by the mining company over there. And sometimes it's a byproduct of feldspar, so another industrial material mineral. Yeah, usually it's a byproduct of feldspar when it's a byproduct, or kaolin in France, for example, but it's more an anecdote than anything else. Yeah.
I love it. Describing MICA as an anecdote rather than the value in its own right. Just one final question. In terms of, so you've been mentioning both Madagascar and India, just leaning into your work that you've been doing, say, with the governments in, say, Madagascar, what have the government actually been doing to support you with this work? Can you give an example?
Well, the Madagascar government is really supportive of the MICA industry. They know that and they understood that there was a new market for responsible MICA, and they want to take this share. They just lack resources, and they are acknowledging that they are lacking resources to make sure that responsible workplace practices are implemented in mine sites. So here we are providing this support to mine sites and trainings to make sure that the situation improves in the medium term, or will improve in the short and medium term. But yeah, they are there. They are taking part, and they are organizing, in fact, all working sessions with us and other NGOs, other organizations that are present as well on the ground. And they are really looking into implementing their mining code, which is a great one, which is already including ASM. And so we are trying to support as much as we can in implementing this legal framework. The idea at the end is to make sure that the miners and the processors are earning a living wage, a living income, so an income enough to have a decent life. And we are in the process of embarking our members in paying at least a fair price for the mica they are buying at the mine sites, to make sure that miners and workers in processing units are earning a living income. Yeah.
Brilliant. So with that, Olivier, thank you so much. Absolutely fascinating. And I've certainly learned a lot in the last 20 minutes. Thank you very much. Round of applause for Olivier.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Thanks for the invite. And yeah, looking forward to the next session, Sam.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Brilliant.